Everyone wants to grow until it starts costing them comfort. Let's talk about the messy side of leadership that nobody wants to post on LinkedIn. We'll also cover how to grow anyway and without losing your mind. Let's be honest, like leadership and growth, it all sounds sexy until we're faced with challenges, we're faced with burnout, we're faced with confusion, resistance. This is that messy, uncomfortable part of leadership that I was talking about. But it's exactly where the real magic happens. Take this for instance. A small business owner hires a social media manager to come in and do their social media posting. Now, the expectation of this small business owner is that the social media manager is going to know exactly what to post, how to post, and sales will begin to flood in. Back to the idea of resistance, hard work, confusion, and burnout. That is the problem. That business owner expects those posts to go viral and the money is going to start flooding in. In this video, I'm going to dive into why growth is so hard, where your strategy might be secretly falling apart, and how to lead with clarity, agility, and emotional intelligence without losing your team or your sanity. If you're serious about authentic leadership, sustainable success, and building a personal brand that doesn't crumble under pressure, you're in the right place. All right. Before we get started though, I want you to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you don't miss my uploads. I am on a journey, and it is a journey to grow my YouTube channel, but I need your help. So many of you are joining me, you're visiting my channel often, but you have not subscribed. Please go ahead and subscribe. And if and when you do, please engage with me. When those videos come to your inbox, please go ahead and watch them. Play them in the background. Let them listen. You get little tidbits as you're cooking dinner or you're doing your work. Just listen. And that'll be so helpful. So I am begging you to please subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And I'm going to keep going. But when you find that there is a pearl that you did not know before or that interests you, that's a great time to go ahead and hit that like, thumbs up button. That lets YouTube know that you like the content that you are getting. Now let's dive into this week's content. Let's get into the reason why it is so difficult to scale your business in this rapid changing world of scaling for success. Dynamic environments. What is the dynamic environment, Andrea? Well, a dynamic environment is an environment that is constantly changing, that it's one way this day, it's another way, another day. If you're a content creator, you are very well versed in this because the algorithms for various social media platforms change all the time. A dynamic social environment. Those algorithms change how you can be social with your following. Maybe it's a technology dynamic environment where different apps change how you interact, how you use social media. Maybe like I have a camera that I'm using now. I got a camera for Christmas and now that camera is outdated and all the girlies are using another form. Technology just changes. These are dynamic environments that change all the time. So it's difficult to keep up with your leadership skills and your abilities when things are constantly changing. So you've got things like also vigorous marketplace activity. Maybe your industry is changing. Maybe there are new products coming on the market or you need to create new products to keep up with things. Maybe your market is expanding. Another thing that could make navigating, this scaling for success as a leader a little bit more challenging is stagnation. It could be a variety of reasons why. It could be maybe you have analysis paralysis and that is causing you, because of all the dynamic environments, maybe you are paralyzed with what to do, decision fatigue. Stagnation could also be an unwillingness to change. Maybe you are just rigid and inflexible. You don't want to do anything different. You feel like, and I've run against these people as well, that feel like it's worked this long, it'll keep working, and they are unwilling to change. Stagnation is the reason why you're struggling with scaling for success. Maybe you're risk averse. Maybe you have a fear and you don't want to risk failing. Well, do you really want to do that? Failure is our first attempt in learning. So don't be afraid of it. Learn from it. Another reason for stagnation might be you don't have a strategy to begin with. You are stuck doing the same thing because you've not done your due diligence to figure out what the next step needs to be. You're not staying on top of industry trends. And so you don't know what you need to do next to move on, to scale your business, to scale as a leader, to keep up with leadership actions that are going on around you so that you can be the best possible leader that you can be. Maybe there's a disconnect between whatever strategy you have put together and your team. You don't have buy-in. You have been unable to keep people on board because you have people who they are not in alignment with the culture that you've created for your business. Or maybe your strategy itself is not in alignment with the culture of your business. These are reasons why you're sitting still, why you aren't able to move, possibly. Another reason is just poor communication. Maybe you have a strategy. Maybe you have built the culture of your business, but maybe you're not communicating well. Maybe you have been ineffective in being able to verbalize the change that you want to see or that you need to see happening. So if you are like overwhelmed as a leader with the drastic and very quick change that is happening around you and you're unable to keep up, it could be for these two reasons, that things are just moving quickly. These are dynamic environments. And maybe because of that, you're paralyzed with your ability to keep up, or maybe it's some of these other reasons that are holding you back with the stagnation that we just talked about. So where do these scaling strategies break down under pressure? I believe that the reason that maybe you are struggling with these dynamic environments, or that you are sitting still with paralysis by analysis or whatever stagnation challenge that you're dealing with, is because you do not have self-awareness. And I've said this in many of my videos before, but you can't lead other people if you don't know how to lead yourself. And by other people doesn't mean that you have employees. Other people could just mean the customers that you have to work with. Because as a business owner, you have to be able to lead your customers down the road. You have to get the buy-in from your customers. And if you're struggling with that, it's quite possible that there's some self-awareness work that needs to be done there. So you need to know, how do you capitalize on your strengths? How do you recognize your limitations, and have you accounted for them? Do you have a plan to overcome them or mitigate them in the first place? What about being clear about your goals? Have you taken the time to really understand what it is you want and what it's going to take to get you there, and then set the goals so that you can achieve them? Maybe you don't know where your boundaries are and you've allowed other people to manage your time. Maybe you have not created those boundaries that are going to protect your abilities, your value, your sanity even. Self-awareness is really important here if you want to understand kind of where this breakdown could potentially be happening and why it is so hard for you to handle the change as a leader, why you can't get a grasp. Maybe these are the things. Maybe you also, secondly, struggle with emotional intelligence. Here is where I think we struggle to get buy-in from people, because we are not invested in the people that we're working with. We either have sort of separated ourselves from our business. And this was the idea of the first example that I gave as it related to the social media manager and the small business owner. To me, there's no way to separate kind of the reason you started your business, the passion you have for serving your clients, and then promoting to those same types of people in your social media. Your social media manager has to understand that connection. So you can't withdraw and expect this person to have any type of buy-in to what it is you're bringing to the table if you've not communicated that to them, where your passions lie, why you serve who you serve, who these people are, what their challenges are, what your connection is to the challenge. This is emotional intelligence. you are sharing the empathy you have for these people with those people around you so that they will get that same level of empathy. Maybe not the same level, but at least they will have the sympathy for those people and they will know exactly what it is you're trying to do for them. That just makes it easier for them to do their jobs. So emotional intelligence is really important here. Active listening here is important as well, because you want to be able to address the fear and anxiety and discomfort that comes with any change. Okay. All right. Now, I have a training and we are going to talk about some of these things with relationship to being able to handle this quick pace of leadership that we find ourselves in, and how do we maintain our authenticity and be the best, most effective leader that can get that buy-in, that can communicate effectively, that can manage and exude emotional intelligence. How do we do that? So I have created this training and I'm super excited about it because I think it's important to not just like hint around some of these things, but to actually give you some good help to start navigating these rapid and choppy waters of leadership in a way that is authentic to you, that helps you be the best possible leader that you can be. And deal with some of these challenges that are happening. These dynamic environments, I'm dealing with them myself. This quick pace, you can't lollygag, but there has to be some organic relationship to it. You got to be able to do it in your own way. And I think that this training is going to be helpful for that. So anyway, I'm going to put the registration down below. It's going to be free. All you got to do is sign up for it and you'll have immediate access to it. I'm going to work on that. By the time this video is live, it should be available. Fingers crossed. Anyway, let's get back to this final point that I want to make, because I want to give you these some simple ways to grow, a simplified path to growth. And the way to do that is to invest significantly in time and energy to create a comprehensive strategy before starting any significant change. I think I've done this in the past. I think I've told you this at the beginning of a year, where at the end of a year, I always get, like down because I feel like, man, I didn't meet my goals, or I didn't do things the way I wanted to, or something didn't happen. And I will always start the new year with this new, I'm more invigorated. I feel like I have the idea. I feel like I know what the piece of the puzzle is that I'm missing, and I get really excited about it. And then I shoot off to the races without a clear plan. And I think that this is where I believe my leadership was stalled at one point, because I was doing this. And so what I've started to do is invest a significant amount of time in developing a comprehensive strategy before I take off going. Next is to build relationships with your team or partners and consider the effect that any change that you might be facing or contemplating might have on them. Back to the emotional intelligence. You want to think about them before you make these adjustments. How is your new working environment going to change their working environment? And make sure that you have considered that. Also, be prepared to explain yourself. Some people, if they're working with you, whether they work for you, whether they're partners or collaborators, customers, if you're making significant changes as a leader to kind of deal with the dynamic environment or to adjust for stagnation, you want to make sure that you are getting that buy-in, communicating, being very transparent, and letting them know. Now, there are some things like you can't say, oh, child, I had to make some changes because I'm not making any money, or, oh, I can't, I'm sinking in debt or whatever. Those aren't very confidence building or confidence driving comments or whatever, but you do want to give some level of explanation and transparency to let them know that you are making adjustments and it's for their benefit as much as it is for yours. You want to have these clear and realistic goals that align with your overall objective for whatever project you're working on. This is another way to simplify your path to growth. Alignment with your vision is so important, because when you're not in alignment with your overall goal, You'll be like, squirrel, everything will take you off task, and you will find that you get further and further away from the thing that you really want to do. Leadership, again, is very fast paced in this environment. But if you want to connect, if you want to influence, if you want to be the example, you have to know how to move quickly, how to be agile, how to be adaptive. And in doing so, you want to make sure that everything you're doing is in alignment, because there lies consistency, and it helps you to develop that buy-in for those people who are around you, who are in your circle. Now, another thing when it comes to simplifying for growth in this area is to offer an opportunity for constructive feedback. Sometimes people aren't going to like your change, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you have to change anything, but you do want to have give the opportunity for people to give you feedback. Sometimes it's going to help you grow, and it might give you some insight into something that maybe you didn't think of, that you should have thought of, or that's going to be very helpful in your leadership journey and your ability to lead the people that you're leading. Once you understand sort of what you need in terms of self-awareness and how to be emotional, and practice emotional intelligence, then you can kind of do these types of things as you begin to make certain changes and grow and be the best leader that you can possibly be. So if growth has felt hard to you, if these leadership areas, the ability to grow in your leadership has been harder for you than it should, now you're not by yourself, and you're not broken, okay? The truth is, leadership is messy. There is going to be confusion. There is going to be struggle and burden, resistance. All of those things are going to happen. But the right mindset and strategy with emotional intelligence, you can grow without sacrificing your mind, without sacrificing your peace, without sacrificing your team. If this hit home for you, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to, number one, give this video a thumbs up, because maybe you heard something that rung a bell for you. I want you to subscribe, because more content is coming like this down the pipeline. And then I want you to go down below, and I want you to register for my free training. You are going to love it. And then finally, if you're wondering how to actually influence people and lead effectively in today's world, my next video shares some simple steps with you. So I want you to watch it. It's called Leadership Tips That Influence People in 2025. Take a look at that video, and it's going to help you get your growth journey started. Let's get into it. I am so excited that you are on a significant journey, and that I was able to hopefully help you recognize that you're not alone, and that it is hard, and that you're not an anomaly. Everybody's struggling with it in this fast-paced environment. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.